very similar to law of sines. It's just we have 4 cases. Case 1, case 2, you do law of sines. Case 3, case 4, you do law of cosines. Okay. So case 4 was when you had nothing but sine. As you can see, there's no given angles. You have to do law of cosine. Now, once you get one angle, you could switch to law of sines and then solve the rest using that if you want. Also note, remember that case 3 and case 4 guarantee one triangle, so you don't have to worry about, okay, do I have 2, do I have 1, do I have none? If it's case 3 and case 4, assume it's just one triangle that exists. Move on.
Which means the cosine triangles?
Yeah, pretty much. So like, obviously you have 3 sides, right? You can't have another side because it's there. A new triangle will not appear. Okay. That makes sense? So use a formula they gave you on Wednesday. It's been a while since I've seen you again. So I solved for A for you. So use this guy. Okay. Then that will be cosine inverse of plug in all the numbers. B is 8 plus C minus A over 2 times B times C. So this exam will be calculator heavy. Make sure you have your scientific, a bare minimum scientific calculator. I'll try to have a few extra, but I can't guarantee it. I'll have enough for everyone. Okay. Now there's a couple. You can use the fraction button if you have a fancy calculator. If you do not, you can just type it in with a parentheses for the top. Or pretend that this is a crappy calculator. So second set of parentheses for the numerator. 8 squared plus 12 squared minus, I don't know why I put A in there, but meant 5. 5 squared. So close parentheses for the numerator, divide, open a second set. So one big set for cosine, a small set for numerator, another for denominator. Okay. If you do it this way, you won't mess it up. So there's the second set for the calculator. Okay, check this out. Numerator has its own set, denominator has its own set. And then the outer one is the cosine. So if you do it this way, it will always work. Okay. If you're scared to press the wrong button or if you get errors randomly during your homework, please do it this way. If you do have a fraction button, then please use it. It'll do that part for you. We'll round to, since they didn't say, we'll round to 2 decimal places. Okay. I got one angle. Now, if at this point, we have an angle and its opposite side. So I could switch to law of sines if you wanted to. So during the exam, I'm not going to tell you what to use. Do whatever you want, as long as it's legit, it's going to count, right? Not a big deal. So I'm going to stick with law of cosine because that's what this assignment is about. So let's practice it. Cosine formula for capital B. What was it? A squared plus B, C squared. Right? A squared plus C squared minus B squared over 2AC. plug it all in. That will be 5 squared plus 12 squared minus 8 squared over 2 times A times C. All right, so this time I'll use a fraction button just because it's a little prettier. If you have an 83 or 84, you should have that button. Okay. So the top part would be 5 squared plus 12 squared minus 8 squared over 2 times 5 times 12. So about 28.96. So once you have two angles, the last one's easy, right? Capital C. What is angle C at this point?
Is it 180?
Yeah.
17.61 and minus 38.96.
Yes. Let's do it. 180 minus 17.61 minus 28.96. That'll give us the final angle when we're done. No big deal. Yeah, 0.96. So there's the three angles. So just to have it all in one place, capital A was 17.61, capital B was 28.96, capital C was this. Lowercase a was given to us, so I will not box these. That's it. Any questions on the process or the formula? Does it seem doable?
How do you get
Oh, yeah, sure. So if you have 83, 84, press the alpha button and go to y equals, and there's an n over d. Yeah, the green one. So alpha and then y equals. That should create a fraction little command string. Okay. You guys cool on example 1? So when you start this on the exam, I need you to know why we chose log cosines.
So the A, when you look at the A is always going to be minus whatever. And the B is always going to be minus something.
You mean the formula?
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. It's almost the same formula, just slightly adjusted. Does everyone see why we use log cosines? I'm not going to tell you, so make sure you know. I'm going to use which one. Okay. You guys cool on this page? So this one is on SAS triangle. So they give us angle A, but none of the other angles. you see why we need law of cosines here. Is it obvious? Why we have to use law of cosine?
Yeah.
But there's no opposite side, right? So if you're missing an opposite angle or opposite side, so there is no situation where I have both capital A and lowercase b. I cannot use law of sines. Okay. So we have to do law of cosine. Although once I find this side or one of these angles, I could switch to law of sine.
So once it's set, the opposite side, then it can be also.
You could, yeah. I mean, you can do either one at that point, but right now we have no choice. You got to do a lot of cosines. Although if you look at the formulas, you notice the pattern, right? When you're using the angle formula, it assumes you have all the sides. So if you're missing one side, that means you can't do it, right? So if I'm being forced to do law of cosines here, then I can't do the angles because I need A. So I got to do A first. So the formula I gave you on Wednesday, A squared was equal to this nonsense. B squared plus C squared, the double check here. Sorry, I'm going to square root of the next step. Minus 2 BC cosine capital A. Okay. So square root either at the end or right now just to have it. And that's it. Plug it all in. Now, every semester I have someone who decides to add and subtract these, and they don't realize that 2BC is multiplied on the cosine, so don't combine these together. Okay. If you're gonna do piece by piece, don't do that. Or just do it all at once. Don't mess it up. So once we get A, we can do law of cosine for the angle or law of sines. So B squared, which is 10.5 squared plus C squared minus 2 times B times C times cosine of 46.5. This is all at once inside the root. At 13.19, let's round to one decimal place because the homework, or this example, I mean, has a one decimal place. No, box the ones that we solved for, so we know the difference later. So now let's go ahead and use the law of cosine formula for capital B, because once we have that, the C will come right out. So capital B is going to be equal to 2AC over below what is it? A squared plus C squared minus B squared, which is equal to cosine inverse of 13.2 squared plus 18 squared minus 10.5 squared over 2 times A times C. What is that going to be? Okay, so it's all in there. Hopefully got it right. 35.3 degrees. This guy. So this has one decimal, so I'm going to stick to one decimal. So what is capital C?
Why don't we try like two triangles? It's 35.3, and if the minus 180 minus 35.3, and whatever result we get added to the A 4615, you're gonna get less than 180 anyways.
I mean,
no, we're not getting more less than 180
Yeah,
because it's 4615.
it's tempting though. Right? Yeah, there's only going to be one triangle. Okay. But you could do the formula again if you wanted to. But
Actually, font is confusing, so I do the homework, like
Uh-huh.
triangles.
oh yeah, the two those are the harder ones, right? So you had some difficulty.
Yeah, sometimes my calculations, like the with a picture, it was really, or it wasn't like intuitive, I guess.
Like was it like rounding error or?
No, like I literally got the right answer, but I guess I got confused about which answer they were asking for. So like one of my calculations, like the answer, I'd be like, oh, that's what they're asking for.
Well, you weren't sure what you solved, like what you solved.
Yeah, like I mean, I would just solve the whole triangle and then I would look at the answer that the book gives and then say, and I get one of them right, but it was never obvious. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, they may have.
They worded it weirdly, so you'd be like, okay, which angle am I solving for?
Yeah, they may have labeled it differently.
Yeah,
Because that's happened to me where my ABCs are different from theirs.
yeah.
So I have to figure out which one is unknown for them. That might be one of the issues. Okay, we found this angle and we found this one. Okay. Any questions on number 2? Let me do some area examples and then we'll start writing down to focus on for test 3. And then Wednesday we'll just review as much as we can. Okay. No questions on number 2. That's cool on this page. Okay, so on the exam, I am going to ask you this. I'm going to say, let's find the area from examples 1 and 2. So basically, I'm going to say, go back to the last question you solved, found all the sides yourself, find the area of that triangle. Okay. On part A, we'll call it part A for example 1. Find the area of example 1. So the formula they gave you for area was this guy. S times S minus A times S minus B. S, they're all S's. S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. S is equal to 1/2 times A plus B plus C. That's what S is going to be. On example 1, all sides are given, so there's no way to mess this part up, right? A was 5, B was 8, C was 12. So they gave us on example 1. So knowing that, first figure out what S is, of course. S will be 1/2 times 5 plus 8 plus 12, which is what, 25/2? What's that as a decimal?
Okay.
12.5. So we'll use the decimal just because it's a little easier to write, not because it's any better. So the area will be the square root of 12.5 times 12.5 minus 5 times 12.5 minus 8 times 12.5 minus 12. A lot of 12.5s. Okay. What's that going to be here? So about 14.5, we'll round to 1 decimal. That's the area of triangle in example 1. Any questions on what we did, right? All you need is the 3 sides. That's all you need. Okay.
So which one's the formula both of the S and the S?
Yeah, the formula is A, but in order to do A, you need to solve for S, which is
That's the standard formula.
yes. Yeah, this is from the book. S is defined to be this: the sum of all the sides divided by 2, and that goes in here. Part B, though, you had to have found one of the sides in order to answer the question. Okay, so we found 13.2. Now, on the exam, let's say you messed up on A. But if you do the work or you show me the formula, I'll give you partial credit, right? Don't leave it blank just because you couldn't find an A. Give me something. Don't mess yourself up like that.
Is that 10.5 or?
10.5. Okay. The first step is find your S. So S is 1/2 the sum of the sides. So that will be 1/2 times this garbage. I think earlier I got 20 something. Okay. So just plug in the S and we'll be good. So 20.85 times 20.85 minus 13.2 times 28 or 20.85 minus 10.5 and then 20.85 minus 18. So I believe that's 68.59. Any questions on A or B? Do you see it's just a formula, right? All you need is the sides. I'm hoping nobody misses these. I have at least one question about area. Sure.
Is the project all that, is that square, 68.59 square? Or is it
Yeah.
already?
Yeah, this is the final answer. So that product square rooted is this.
Yeah.
Any question on area? All right, so I wrote down the overview for exam 3. It's cool on this page. Was it? It's already posted.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, so. Exam 3 overview. So for 6.1, when I probably have you find arc length. Area of a sector. I don't know if I'm going to ask about angular speed and linear speed, but that was a main topic. I'm leaning towards no right now. But that is the only 3 things I care about in 6.1. So for sure, I'm going to ask about these 2. 3 is a maybe. Okay. So find the arc length and find area of the sector. Those are 2 formulas that need to be on your page. If you forget them, I'll put them on the board for you. 6.2 was all the right triangle stuff. So trigonometry. Of right triangles. Number 1. So basically this was stuff like finding side and angles, but it was like simple Pythagorean theorem problems, right? So find angles and sides of right angles. Number 2, I have a problem where I say find, I may have already asked this before, but given a triangle, find all 6 trig functions. So find the 6 trig functions given info on a right triangle. So you may have to solve the triangle first, and then you just tell me what cosine is, cosecant, that type of stuff. So write down the definition, the whole SOHCAHTOA thing, just put that on there just in case. If you don't already have one. Number 3. I'll probably throw in a basic word problem from this section. Kind of like that tree example. You guys remember the tree? So see the tree example, something like that, something simple. I don't think it's going to be like crazy. 6.3 might be the only section I might throw out. Because there's only one thing I care about, and I've already asked about it in last exam. Find reference angles. That's it. 6.4. Inverse trig functions. So the first thing, basically be able to find, be able to solve for angles using inverse trig functions. Number 2, I'll throw in some basic trig equations. Nothing insane. Number 3, I'm for sure going to throw in something like this. Solve sine of cosine, inverse of u. Okay, so remember how we had to solve for the triangle. So basically, I'm asking for sine given this information. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for 6.4. 6.5 is law of sine, so I'll do that on the next page. Just a sec. Got that cool on this page. Yeah, no rush. So for sure, I have one of these, at least one. Is everyone good? Okay. 6.5. So as I said before, I identify. You need to be able to identify when to use the law of sines. In other words, identify that it's case 1 or case 2. Number 2. Of course, use law of sines to solve non-right triangles. Because I may have actual right triangle questions in the exam, so don't start doing law of sines if it's a basic right angle. So if you see a little box on there, right angle box, don't mess with law of sines or cosines. Right? It's a super easy question. Use Pythagorean theorem, something like that. If it's a weird triangle, or I don't give you a picture, or you just take capital A, B, or whatever, then for sure use law of sines, law of cosines. That makes sense? Okay. Number 3. Use law of sines to solve word problems. I'm probably not going to put in a hard word problem from that section. Since it is an exam, I'll probably stick to something easy, like I said before, in the right triangle section. Go 6. Like 6.2 kind of word problem. So yeah, don't worry about 6.3. Or no, I'm sorry, number 3 on 6.5. It is an important topic, but it's already in the homework. I think that's good enough. Law of cosine will be exactly the same, so I'm not going to rewrite this. So number 1 is the same, except it's case 3 and 4. Number 2 is the same. Number 3 is the same. Number 4 is the area. So find area of a triangle using Heron's formula. That's it. Okay, so we'll pick questions similar to our examples that we've done together. That's usually what I try to do. And I might pick some out of your homework. So it's stuff you've seen before. I'm not going to surprise you. Okay. If you've done your homework, you look at the examples, you've probably already seen the exam, right? It might be slightly different. You guys have any homework problems you're struggling with? Any issues or? It's already in there. If you open it, it'll say the problems. I don't have them on me. Okay. 3 is going to be 1. Put her down here. Thanks. So Wednesday we're just going to do nothing but review problems. So I'll see you Wednesday. If you want to stick around and do some problems, I don't know, 30 minutes. It's up to you. Let me know.
Working on my. I forgot what it's called, the sheet, the formula. Yeah, I just wanted to see if all that was good.
Yeah, it looks great, man.
Okay. I got more to add. but I just wanted to
Yeah,
see if there's any-
so far.
Okay.